What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to a new review. For today we have another flagship from Xiaomi and this one is called the Mi Note 3. The phone costs about $400 and even though it's not as expensive as a flagship device from Samsung or LG, it's still an expensive phone. The design of this phone is very similar to the Xiaomi Mi 6 and that's not a bad thing because the Mi 6 is still a beautiful phone. However, when comparing this to the Samsung Galaxy S8 or the LG V30, well, this doesn't look like a phone from 2017. We have a metallic frame and we also have glass on the front and on the back. On the back there we also have two 12 megapixel cameras. One of the cameras is a wide angle lens and the second camera is a zoom lens, so just as we've seen on the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. We also have a USB-C port and dual speakers, however we don't have a 3.5mm audio jack. Now there is an adapter that comes in the box, so from USB-C to a 3.5mm audio jack, and the sound coming out of it is not bad at all. For specifications we have the Snapdragon 660, this is an octa-core CPU clocked at 2.2 GHz. We also have 6 GB of RAM and 64 GB of internal storage. Out of that 64 GB of internal storage we only have about 51 GB available, and unfortunately the phone doesn't take SD cards, so you're gonna be stuck with that 51 GB of internal storage. And you guessed it, it's that time when I'm gonna ask you to press that like button. Let's see if we can get this video to like 500 likes. I'm imagining that a lot of you are gonna be disappointed about the fact that we have the Snapdragon 660 and not the Snapdragon 835, which is the latest CPU. Well, I can tell you that there is almost no difference in performance if I would be to compare this phone and my Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. The only difference you're gonna notice are probably the benchmark results, because with this phone you'd get a score of about 115,000 on the Antutu Benchmark, and with the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus you'd probably get a score of about 170,000. But realistically you're not gonna notice any difference in performance. So no matter what you do with this phone, if you're playing games or if you're multitasking or watching videos, whatever you do with it, it's fast and it's not gonna slow down at all. We also gain better power efficiency with this CPU, so inside this phone we have a 3500 mAh battery and you're gonna be able to go for about 2 days without charging the phone, and out of that about 8 to 9 hours of screen on time, which is good for any device at any price. Moving to the front of the device, so first of all we have a 16 megapixel front-facing camera. We also have the speaker and an LED notification light. The picture quality from that front-facing camera is great as long as you have plenty of light. As soon as you don't have enough light, well, the pictures become a bit grainy and blurry, and I wasn't actually expecting that considering that we have a 16 megapixel sensor. The 5.5-inch screen has a resolution of 1080p, and I know these aren't exactly flagship specs, however the screen does look quite good. The viewing angles are really good and the colors are nice and vibrant. On top of that, the screen gets bright enough so you can actually see it in direct sunlight. The screen sensitivity is also great, so you're not gonna have any issues whenever you're typing, playing games, browsing or anything that you do with the phone. And the screen is also covered by Gorilla Glass 4, and that means that it's not gonna get scratched that easily. And all the way at the bottom you're gonna find 3 physical buttons. One of them is the multitasking button, the other one is the home button, and that's also a fingerprint scanner, and of course the return key. And those buttons also light up. The fingerprint scanner is one of the fastest that I've tried on any smartphone, so you just have to touch it and the screen will unlock right away, so very good. The Mi Note 3 also supports OTG and fast charging, so charging the device from 0 to 100 is done in about an hour and 50 minutes, so quite fast considering that we have a 3500 mAh battery. As for the speakers, well, the phone is using 2 speakers, so the one on top here and the one at the bottom, and even though they are not the loudest out there, they do sound quite good. And we are moving to the cameras on the back of this device. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a wide angle lens and we also have a zoom lens, and that gives you the ability to optical zoom without losing any quality. We also get the possibility of taking those pictures with a cool bokeh effect, and that's also called the portrait mode. Now all the pictures that I'm showing you right now are actually taken on this device, and as you can probably see, they do look very good. Now unfortunately the portrait mode doesn't do as good in low light conditions, so you're always gonna need a lot of light to actually take those pictures. As for regular pictures, so if you're taking pictures with a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, I don't really have any complaints. If you have plenty of light, the pictures look great and they are on par with the pictures that you take with much more expensive devices. Now the dynamic range could be improved in certain situations, but overall the pictures do look quite good. As for pictures taken in low light, well, once again they look quite good and on par with the much more expensive devices. If you do zoom in on those pictures taken in low light conditions, you can see some grain here and there, but overall the pictures do look quite good for a phone that costs about $400. Software-wise, the phone is running Android 7.1 with Xiaomi's own skin on top of it. Now, even though I'm not a big fan of MIUI, this is one of the fastest Xiaomi phones that I've ever tried. Multitasking works good, opening and closing apps it's extremely quick as well, and overall I don't really have any complaints. On the YouTube app, the maximum resolution is 1080p, and of course that's the maximum resolution of the screen. As for gaming, as I said earlier, it doesn't matter what game you're playing and it doesn't matter if you're playing at the maximum settings, the phone performs very well and it doesn't get that hot. The GPS unit inside this phone works great and it's on par with much more expensive devices, so it only takes a couple of seconds to find your location, and once your location is found, the phone doesn't lose it. As for sensors, well, you're gonna find all the sensors that you'd find in any other flagship device, including a gyroscope. Connectivity-wise, the phone can connect to 4G networks, and we also have dual-band Wi-Fi and NFC, and that's not something that we see every day with the Chinese devices. The NFC works great if you're transferring files in between devices, but I've also downloaded the Android Pay app and I tried to set up one of my cards, but unfortunately it doesn't work. I'm not sure if that has to do with the fact that I have that card on quite a few phones and maybe it got flagged, but as of now I can't really confirm if Android Pay works on this device. As for the speeds over the 4G network and the dual band Wi-Fi, well, they are great and on par with all the other flagship devices that I tried. And it's time to conclude this video. So the phone offers great performance, we also have great battery life and great cameras. But unfortunately the phone doesn't look as good as other flagship devices from 2017, so like the LG V30 or the Samsung Galaxy S8 or the S8 Plus. And that's the only downside to this device. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.